Good evening and welcome everyone. I'm delighted to see everyone's faces here, so excited to hear personal stories. This is our fourth session of Al-Majlis, and I'm Maryam Shibani. I'm gonna be your MC of the day. Before starting our session, I wanna give a brief introduction about Al-Majlis. Al-Majlis is inspired by our Arab culture society. So we provide warmth, coziness, live settings when we enable the speaker to talk about their personal story, and we want you and encourage you to ask questions and share your own personal experience. Our fourth session, titled as Collective Mind Drive Action, where speakers will talk about the importance and power of individuals' collective actions. Now, please join me in welcoming our special moderator for the day, Tom Goodwin. Welcome. And please welcome our special guest for today, Mashael Al Zoghaibi. Thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. We're going to talk for about 30 minutes.
Yes.
But 15 minutes are going to be you doing an open Q&A. So hopefully we discuss things which inspire you to want to ask more questions. The sort of topic for discussion is about collective minds coming together for action. I think it's an amazing topic to talk about.
Definitely.
Mashael, why don't you start off just by talking a little bit about your role and how you've come to be in it?
Great. Let me start. Can I say something in Arabic? Assalamu alaikum jami'an. I hope you had a great first part of MGF today, and we're really happy to see that interest and curiosity for learning from everyone here. And I would just quickly explain Misk Foundation in like 5 minutes if you would like. So Misk Foundation is a foundation that is a youth empowering foundation. We care about youth locally, especially in Saudi. How can we cater for youth to make them the next generation of scientists, creative artists, and other aspirations that they would like to be? We do that through different programs that we have. We have more than 60 programs. Some of them are entrepreneurship, others are in leadership development. We have programs in community as well, development and community engagement, how to become an active citizen, and how to create other MISCs like MISC, so a Youth Enablement Foundation. As well as we have the skills, which is my start at MISC, and I feel very passionate about that because 2019, I started at Misk as part of the Misk Academy at the days, and I don't know who remember Misk Academy when it was there. Now it's Misk Skills. In these 4 tracks, we make sure that we bring to Saudi youth the latest skills, knowledge, programs, engagement, experience that happens from around the world, to make sure that they are not only aware, but they're part of everything that the world is trying to achieve, and they're part of the change. Now I'm leading the global engagements. One of my projects is where we're sitting now, Miss Global Forum, and that's why I was very excited to see everyone enjoying it, as well as we build bridges with our global partners to bring the best of the benefits to our local youth and take our local youth to global platforms to make sure they advocate for what they want, they have the skills to advocate, and they are part of policy endorsement, policy change, and part of the global youth drive to solve global youth challenges.
I mean, these days, it's easy to kind of think that people are more sort of individual somehow than before. Like a lot of education is about oneself. It's almost quite sort of selfish. You know, social media is almost making people focus on themselves a bit too much.
Yes.
How do you start to bring people together and create these kind of communities in that context?
I'm very happy that you mentioned that because I think we are in a very competitive world.
Yeah.
I want to be the first scientist who discovered that drug. I want to be the first astronaut. I want to be the first. And I don't know if being the first matters than being the lasting or being sustainable. And I think that matters more. And maybe I'll give you an example about that collective thinking and that approach. We had a program in 2021. I was working at Misk Leadership at the time. It's called 2030 Leaders Program. This is a leadership development program, but it's not like any leadership development program. The design of this program was based on the concept of collective thinking. How can we bring different partners to deliver a leadership development program? We brought 5 partners. 4 of them, they don't have an expertise to do a leadership development. They're scientists, they are innovation and technology, they're consulting, they are part of other expertise that are not a typical institution of leadership development. They're not the Harvard of the world, but we have one of the partners as definitely a prestigious leadership development institution. And I remember every time I walked into a brainstorming session, it was so challenging to bring those perspectives together. Consultants care about practicality. That's not practical, that's practical, let's do it this way. While the innovation partner talked about creativity, that's more creative, that's more innovative. Scientists have their own way of thinking, is 1 + 2 is 3, and that's it. But the more we sit and have an open mind in those brainstorming sessions, we were able to build bridges between our different perspectives that gave the program very unique dimensions. The program now is not only a successful leadership development program, it's a transformational leadership development program. And after that experience, I really personally realized that when we as a group come together with an open mind to listen, not listen to reply, but listen to understand, and have that open mind to really learn from other perspectives, we can not only achieve the goal, but we will definitely create a new goal that's more transformational, that's unique, and that's new to this world. And today we have around 300 graduates from this program, and we're on way to make 1,000 graduates by 2030.
Do people kind of volunteer to take part in this sort of initiative, or do you go out and find people? I'm sort of fascinated by that idea of listening to understand versus to reply.
Yeah.
Like I love that way of thinking, and like it's very hard for people to change. So I wonder about the degree to which they come forward or you find them. So.
True. I think it's hard to be open sometimes with different perspectives, especially in today's world. You have targets to achieve, or you have exams to do, and you have a lot of life pressure. And sometimes you just say to yourself that I'm not open now to something new. I just want to do it my way. But I realized when I'm open to listen and understand the different perspective, it was easier for me to achieve what I want sometimes. Or it was a proof that the other way is not working. And both scenarios or both situations is a win for me, because I learned something new. I was open to others to understand. I learned something new from others, respect in any form, whether it's right or wrong. And I think when we respect the communication, when we are in whatever setting, how we talk, the language, we facilitate that conversation. We give everyone their right to raise their ideas. And there is a saying that there is no stupid idea, and I believe also in that saying. I believe that we not only grow as an organization or as a business or as a startup, we grow as individuals, and that's what matters. And
what are the big sort of challenges that you face when trying to work in this way, both as a sort of individual trying to be more collaborative, but also as an organization trying to ask people to behave this way?
I think one of the things that I think it's a difficult challenge is definitely bringing the different perspectives. And to do that, you need to make sure that you invest the right time and the right tools in understanding those perspectives. And therefore, you put an understanding of what is your goal. What are you trying to achieve? You're going to reach there, but how? That we can discuss. But at least you have an alignment on your goal. And that solved a lot of the challenges when we talk about the different perspective. I think also one of the challenges as well is how organizations are already structured and how the way we work across, I would say also maybe in Saudi and leading institution around the world, there is a lot of products that come from the organization itself, and there is no, I would say, inclusivity to youth at that level. And that is one of the things that we want to strive at Misk to do. We want to make sure that collective thinking brings youth the opportunity to be part of policy endorsement, to be part of talking about their rights, to talk also about their what they want actually in terms of capability building, whether it's be opportunities and if they're entrepreneurs, or how to be an active citizen in general and contribute to that change. I believe that with collective action and collective thinking, we not only give the youth awareness about the change around the world, but we definitely make them contribute to this change. And that's very, very important, especially in Saudi now. We have changes happen. I was discussing with Tom just before the session that I cannot even keep up with the changes. Every time I open my phone, something new is happening. A new initiative is launched or great things that happens around Saudi. And to make sure that we are part of this wave, we need to make sure that we are part of this change. And this never happened if you work in a solo mode. This happens when you work collectively.
It's interesting to me because there's so many kind of different types of collaboration.
Yeah.
Sometimes in America, where I work quite often, it seems that collaboration is sort of finding the easy things to agree on and then not offering real differences of opinion. In other countries, collaboration is more like sort of managing the kind of conflicts and celebrating all the ideas and recognizing that there may be difficulties to that.
Yeah.
Have you sort of found a sweet spot for collaboration to make sure that everyone's listened to, but also to be able to make decisions, to invite opinions in, but not to end up sort of making no progress? Yeah. How are you sort of reconciling these things?
I think that's proactively happens because when you choose who you work with, especially an example with Misk, when we choose who we work with, we want to make sure that our collaboration with different entities have shared goals. And if we do that, we eliminate half of the conversation later that will bring challenges. We're all working towards making sure that youth have the cutting edge technology skills by X. And that's a very clear goal. How are we going to achieve it? Are we going to do a capability building, virtual sessions, in-person sessions? There's different modality. But when we agree on this goal before and we find our right partners, we are also making this part of not only an initiative that happens, it's a way we do the work. We become more sustainable in providing that outcome, and as well as resolving those challenges and making sure that we build on it to more opportunities.
And sort of looking ahead towards the future more, what are your kind of key focus areas for the next few years, and what's your big hope sort of longer term?
Yes. So after, I think my short future is having these 2 days at FMGF done. And maybe on the longer run, we want to make sure that we give the right space for Saudi youth on global platforms. We want to make sure that their voices are there, they are part of the change, they are part of the wave, and they have their space provided by Misk or collective efforts with Misk on these platforms. Our next as well project will be at Davos with part of the World Economic Platform, and we will definitely make showcasing youth as part of our major outcome in Davos, and we will continue to do so.
Yeah, I'd love to know a bit more about the kind of global reach of this.
Definitely.
It sounds like you work with the UN, talking about Davos.
Yes, I do. Yes.
How does this sort of work manifest itself in other markets like that?
So there is different institution around the world that has a youth chapter. UN has a youth chapter. WEF as well have some offices that offer youth projects, whether it's research or different initiatives. And we as Misk make sure that we not only identify those entities, but we are very proactive in reaching them and making sure to say, look, we have great Saudi youth. We have great outcomes. We have great initiatives. Our youth are awesome. They are part of this change in Saudi, and they can bring more to the global platforms and to the global youth challenging addressing, whether it's solutions or it's only a policy endorsement. So I think from our side, we will always strive to see where are these direct partners across the world, whether it's a UN, whether it's WEF, whether it's also part of the East part, and this is something that we're also looking on. And this is, inshallah, coming within the 2024 agenda of Misk Foundation for the global engagement.
It's interesting. I mean, a lot of the discussions here have been about the future of education and how to kind of best equip people of all ages for the future. And I think we tend to sort of focus a lot on how technology can help us without thinking about what that means for the skills that we need to embrace. And it seems like a really sensible way to sort of future-proof your career to sort of develop these skills. Do you see that the sort of mechanisms that you may use to do this, do you see that they may change, or have you sort of found an approach which seems to work really well at the moment?
I think we're still exploring a lot of approaches. Some of them are really straightforward, especially with partners that we know. But I think I will bring that back to why Misk is so special. And because you say, can you discover different approaches? I think Misk has always been the pioneer in bringing those different approaches, whether it's how to use technology to develop youth, how can we bring global partners to make youth have the most innovative thinking approach in delivering whether their business or whether their MPO or even bringing their idea to life in an innovative idea as an active citizen. So I think we're discovering a lot on that. We have many approaches that we say it's valid, and we make sure that we're always one step ahead of where the world is. And I want to make sure that we are on that promise.
Okay. Yeah. I want to give everyone a chance to ask a question at this point. Masha, you're keen to make sure that questions came from lots of different people. So hopefully people with microphones are ready.
I hope so.
And if you can sort of stand up or raise your hand if you have a question, that'd be great.
Thanks a lot for this very insightful talk. And I can see that there's a huge focus on youth and what they add to this world in terms of energy, in terms of passion, in terms of innovation, creativity, in terms of drive, and in terms of wanting to see a new world. What could you say about the role of the older generation and what they have in terms of expertise, in terms of know-how? Do you see the journey as passing the baton on, or is there more to what they can do as well, rather than just empowering the youth?
Yeah. That's a great question, and I think we answered that last year in MGF. We had our theme was generation transformation, and into that theme we talked specifically about this point: how can we create intergenerational dialogue to make sure that youth has always an access to older generation to learn from their expertise and bring back to newer solutions, or if something is not broke, don't fix it, to something that also they can work on today. And this is where part of the intergenerational conversation that we try to bring. I think also MGF is part of that as well, because MGF, part of the thinkers and leaders that we bring for youth to learn from are from the older generation. I would not say that all of them are youth. We at Misk create those platforms. We make sure that we give accessibility to youth to different tools, whether they are older generation, technology, accessibility to entities and external global access. And with all of that, we've definitely become to reach our goal to youth empowerment. But I advise you to look at Miss Global Foreign YouTube from last year.
All right. My question is actually the opposite. Usually you focus on youth, but how are you focusing on the young kids? What programs are we putting? Because leadership, I believe, is something, is a way of life, a way of communicating with people. when we talk about leadership, usually people think it's the top 2 percentile of the community. But no, leaders can be employees, can be anyone. It's a way of life, a way of thinking. What have we done to the young people to have this way of life and way of thinking?
That's great. I would answer it from a Misk perspective. So Misk has 2 schools under their subsidiary, Riyadh School and Misk School. And I've heard the CEO of Misk Schools, one talking in one of our internal town hall, and he's saying that one of his major goals into Misk Schools is to make sure that leadership is integrated from younger age. So I agree with you. It is 100% important. It doesn't start as I turn from a manager to a leader. It starts from where I'm young. How can I build my values? How can I build my capabilities to become not only a leader, a transformational leader that in this country we will need from now until 2040, 2050 and beyond. So we as Misk take the initiative to develop this concept and approach into our schools. And I think with that, hopefully other schools within the kingdom globally and regionally will adopt as well. Big question. Great question. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me? Assalamu alaikum. First of all, thank you very much, MGF, for this great event. I think it builds a good collaboration between young and old generations. And my question is around how do we ensure sustainability around thinking big and acting now? Today we have MGF, but tomorrow we don't know. So how, from your vision, Mashael, how do you think we can create sustainability? Thank you.
That's a great question and not an easy one. I think this question has 2 folds. One is what is our organizational role into making sure that our efforts to youth are continuous and making sure that we not only give programs, that we give programs that matters, that give skills for youth to create that ripple effect. And if I learn the skill, I can teach it to my sister can teach it to her community, the nation overall grow, and that ripple effect of sustainability also happen. So one of the folds is definitely on organization and make sure that they always have youth priority and youth enablement as their priority. The second fold is for youth, and that is your own responsibility. You need to make sure that you are always part of this think big and act now, if you want to say today, or sustainable change. And this by always be curious to learn new things. Make sure that you are part of all the opportunities that Saudi, especially these days, have. There is million things that you can do. And each entity have a lot of programs, a lot of enablement. So make sure that you build yourself, because if you don't build these building blocks of how can you become the best version of yourself, this change that we're trying to make is not going to be sustainable. It's not going to be driven by 3 or 4 people who are only taking the lead with the whole generation. We need to make sure that all youth are investing in themselves, and on the other hand as well, entities such as Misk and other organizations are also investing in our youth. Okay.
Good evening. I want to ask if Misk has any ideas of branching into schools, offer programs in schools that are less fortunate, that do not have the resources to run leadership programs for their students, and not only focus on Misk schools or Riyadh school, because there are so many schools that lack resources. So is there any way of partnership or having like a sister school or run programs within schools to empower them?
So let me tell you what Misk do for, other than the Misk school and Riyadh school. Misk, under Misk skills, they serve around 500 to 600K a year. And that's all our free programs. for anyone to be accessible online. You can go to Misk Hub and find different technology programs that provided by the leading entities. We have, I think Microsoft is part of this, STC is part of this. There is a lot of programs. So those we serve to everyone inside Saudi, whether they are in schools or not. As well as our leadership development track, we have 2 programs that are very unique to all schools around Saudi. One is Distinct. And Distinct program is where they take high schoolers to be accepted in the top league universities around the world. And that has been a very successful program. Some of the candidates there come from very far areas, from big cities. And that's what we give as an enablement for other schools. As well as we have the fellowship program that also give the opportunities for everyone to be part of a leadership development at a younger age. So we definitely contribute to that. I advise you to look at the different programs, and it will definitely benefit all youth around Saudi. Yeah?
The time has flown. Apparently we're out of time. So I just want to take this moment to thank you all for your great questions and for taking part in this.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. I didn't feel it.
Thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you.
There's an amazing expression, like if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Exactly.
And I think it's not easy, but that's how we progress.
Yes.
And that's how we move forward.
Yes,
so
yes.
thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.